everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And we're back with another episode of Hot Goss with Unpopular Sauce. And I am excited and nervous for today.
Oh, I'm solely nervous. Just nervous. It's all nerves.
We are talking about It Ends With Us, the book and movie, and the drama surrounding it. And I think the only reason I'm excited is because I'm excited to talk about the drama. I'm not excited.
There's quite a bit of drama.
And I think it's so fun. And I'm excited because I love, and I'll say this, like fantasy is my favorite, fantasy and romantasy are my favorite genres to read. But they're not the only genres I read. And I'm kind of excited to talk about a book that isn't fantasy for a change. I think like it's just kind of, it's exciting to do something different. And that's the element of this that I'm excited about too.
You want to know something? I was just talking to Grant yesterday about how much my my style has changed as far as reading goes, how much my genres have changed. And I was like, I was so like hell-bent on fantasy. I only want to read fantasy. Even romantasy is kind of like, I like obviously SJM stuff, but I really love just pure fantasy. I love the plot line. But this past year, I have recognized that all my favorite books, all the top ones, have all been murder mysteries or thrillers. What?
Is it because of me? Is it because of me? Have I been pushing you out of your limits or boundaries? Neither of those were the right words, but you know what I mean. Comfort zone. There it is.
I don't know. Have you recommended a thriller to me?
No, I think it's just being around me. My presence just elevates people.
Your presence does elevate me to murder mystery. I want to read about thrillers because I think of Melissa. No, and then I was like, and also what's super odd, because I love fantasy movies. I love Lord of the Rings. I love, as dumb as that is, Princess Bride. Like, I just love all aspects fantasy, romantasy from movies. But this past year, my top genre for movies and TV shows, no, sci-fi. Like, Dune
incredible.
Was so, it's top tier. It's so good. And then I watched
the best
like
part
obviously
is
Stranger Things. Love that. That's been my favorite show of the year. We're rewatching it. So and I'm like, this was so good. Excellent. Excellent work.
I'm sure we've talked about this, but I'm saying it again and because I just have to, I'm really being humble this morning. I have to pat myself on the back. Ellie, I told her to watch Dune in 2021 when it first came out.
Yeah.
You actually
sat on the couch and watched it with me.
Well, no. I'm saying back in 2021, I actually went and saw it the night before I flew out to see you. And we spent your birthday week together. And I was like, Ellie, this movie, like, I loved it. This was before I even actually got into reading. I loved the movie so much that I bought the book. Because I was like, and I thought I'd read it on the plane. But, spoiler, don't start with Dune if you're trying to get back into reading. I only got about 10 pages in, and I'm like, this is dry. But
ooh, mistake.
Yeah. Now that I'm into reading, I think I could read it, but it was not a good book to launch my reading.
Yeah.
But anyways, and I was telling Ellie about it, and so they tried watching it, and she was like, Melissa, this is quite literally the worst movie you've ever recommended for me to watch. I hate it so much. And
I tell everyone the story. That was
3 days
the
as
worst.
a punishment. I'm just kidding.
I hated that movie so much, and I think I said to Melissa, like, I get that, like, you like things, but maybe don't recommend things to me ever again, because
told me
this
to
was
stop
horrible.
Because
and
the other movie, no, it wasn't me. It was my husband that recommended Dune, because he was obsessed with Dune, and I did enjoy it, but I was telling her that Zeke was the one who loved it so much. And prior to this, Zeke had recommended that Ellie watch Gladiator. And she tried watching it, also said it was terrible. And that's why when we
I feel like everyone's screaming over the podcast right now that I hate that. But
no,
okay,
wait,
I've done a 180.
This is my story.
Go ahead.
This is my story.
Your story about me. Go ahead.
So, yes, that's exactly. So that's why when I recommended Dune, Ellie said, you should probably just stop recommending movies to me. However, now it's 2024. Ellie has seen the light. Not
I've
only
changed.
does she finally tried rewatching Dune, obsessed, watched bought the second one just so that she didn't have to wait 2 days for it to be
HBO
on
Max.
streaming.
Correct.
And then
spent $30. That's how obsessed I was. That's outrageous.
And then also rewatched Gladiator and loved that. And
loved it.
I don't know what happened the first time she tried watching both of those.
I've actually been on this kick of like wanting to watch movies that everyone says are so good, maybe a little bit older movies too, just to see are they actually good. And I'm really going to focus and pay attention. I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm really going to pay attention to the storyline. I've watched Signs. I've watched Gladiator. I've watched The Mummy. Loved it. You know, I hate Joaquin Phoenix. We're getting so far off track. All that to say, we love fantasy, we love romantasy, but we do hit up other genres. And sorry that was the biggest tangent intro ever. But like and subscribe. Follow us on socials on Instagram. We're L.A.M.E Book Club Pod.
Leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, review on Apple Podcasts. That would mean the world to us. It was our 1-year podiversary. So
it was
our birthday present, if you will, is please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd love that.
Yep.
And all that being said, we are talking about It Ends With Us, the book and movies. So if you have not read it, there's going to be spoilers for the entire thing. We are assuming you have seen and read it all. So that's that.
Also, it's not just a spoiler for the book. It's also spoilers for the movies because we will be talking about both.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make that super clear.
So, Melissa, I have an itinerary for today. Excellent. We are going to discuss our thoughts on the book only, then our thoughts on the movie only. Okay. Then we're going to do book v movie. What was different? Excellent. What did we like? What we didn't? And then we are going to talk about the press and drama revolving everybody involved in this movie. Yeah. And again, we're not a pop culture podcast. So all I have to say is Melissa and I are going to do our part as best we can to address these topics sensitively and give them the credit that they're due. So we're just girls and we're just giving our thoughts on this. And so that's it.
Yeah.
So, yes, but if you want to hear all the drama, stay for the end to hear the juicy stuff.
That's so true. All right, so, Ellie, do you want to talk about your thoughts on the book first, and then I can, or do you want me to go first? Go for it.
I can. My thoughts on the book. When I read this, I think it was 2022, maybe. It was a while back.
Yeah.
And I think when I read this, I don't remember hating it, but I also wasn't like, oh my gosh, Colleen Hoover, this is amazing. I did not jump on that bandwagon at all. It just wasn't something I was going to like write home about. I remember feeling really weird about the tone of this book, but I also can't put my finger on, was that actually me feeling weird about it? Or was that I talked about it with friends and they felt weird. And so I was like, maybe I feel weird, you know, because that controversy was from the get-go. That was a thing.
Yeah.
So, but now after doing this summary, I think I can put my finger on why I do feel weird about it. Ooh. So here are the light notes of the plot. Lily Bloom Blossom, owner of a flower shop. Are you kidding me? Get out of here with that. Are you kidding me?
I hated that so much that I loved it.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I liked it...
You have to laugh.
I think the only reason I liked it is because she jokes about it too. Like, I think if that was like legit just her name, she's like, it was destined to be like flowers, I'd be like, I probably would have DNF'd it on the spot. But because she's like, you're not going to believe this. Do you remember if she joked about it
in the book though? Because I know she joked about it in the movie, but I don't think she joked about it in the book. And that's where I was like, are you kidding me? We're going to just pretend that that's real?
Oh shoot. Now I can't remember because I thought she did watching the movie. I'm like, yeah, I remember that part.
She might have.
Maybe she didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Shoot. It's been a while since I've read this book too. So
I know. It's been some years. I did a little quick summary, but okay. So ultimately, we are watching Lily meet this super hot, successful, rich playboy who only wants to have sex with her, aka Ryle Kincaid. But then within a matter of 6 months and a second chance meeting, Ryle is now a full-on man who wants a committed relationship. That was a little bit unbelievable to me, but do it for the plot.
Snap.
Okay. Yeah. And then finally, the diary entries to Ellen.
My goodness, that sent me.
Jail.
I hated that so much.
I know.
I was like, we're really weird. Dory, we're doing this. Like this.
We're doing it. And I get like the story behind. Okay, cute. Like she watched Finding Nemo with Atlas. Like cute. But like continue, like much. Just write a diary entry to yourself. I just felt like that was so odd. Okay, it was. So for the more serious
worshipped
notes,
her. It was weird.
I know it did feel odd, and we'll talk about obviously the book versus the movie. But that is one thing I'm glad they pulled because I think Colleen really heard the audience when we were like, "What is this?
What the heck is that?
What did I just read?"
The fact that our editor didn't say anything about that though concerns me.
I know. Okay, so for the more serious notes, I actually really appreciated the storyline. I recognize that one of the largest spoken controversies in this book is that it romanticizes domestic violence, because we as the reader are almost prompted to walk away, not necessarily justifying Ryle, but not entirely hating him. And that leaves kind of a weird feeling. Like, I don't want to leave this book thinking that the abuser is someone who's maybe okay. Like, I don't want that. And so that may be due to the fact that Colleen shows the softer side of him in the end, where he understands the reasonings for the divorce, loving his new daughter, wanting to show up as a father. And this leaves the storyline really gray. And I think that that is why so many of us feel so weird, because it's not black and white. We never got the justice that we believe Ryle deserved. He's getting unsupervised visits with his daughter. He's still able to care for patients as a neurosurgeon. And no one outside of his immediate family even knows who he really is. So a lot of books show abusive partners as simply evil, but Ryle is more complex than that. And I think that was the whole point of what Colleen was trying to do in this book. And that really confuses people, myself included, who might miss that the book's goal is to highlight how complicated abuse can be and why it's so hard for someone to leave in an abusive relationship, rather than just being like, he's bad, we cut him out, the end, happy ending.
Exactly.
You know, it was so complicated. And so that's where I felt really off with this book. But what are your thoughts?
No, 100%. You said it exactly. And this book was actually like weirdly triggering for me, because I fortunately have never been in that situation. But I think, and so I didn't love the book immediately, like after reading it, because it was semi-triggering. But then I thought about it and I'm like, that's actually so good. If this book was able to put me in the shoes of the protagonist so much so that I was triggered by a situation that I haven't actually been in. Like that,
you really get to understand.
Like that really made it feel so real. And I am certainly, like, I am indifferent on Colleen. There's people that I feel like she's really polarizing. People either love her or hate her.
Right.
I can appreciate she can write a book way better than I can. I don't hate her, but I'm also not like, wow, Colleen, you did this. I'm so shocked and amazed. Like, she did her job. That's her job is supposed to make us like be in the shoes of the protagonist. So I would say she did a good job in this book, because it was, and I actually really appreciated, like you said, how it ended. Like, it was so real. It was, you understood why it was so hard for Lily to leave. Because like, on paper, if you're just reading the facts of the situation, obviously Atlas is the good guy. Obviously Ryle sucks eggs and like that. But like, he did actually get punished because he still loved Lily. Like, and he didn't get to be with her. And instead he actually had to watch her go to, I mean, kind of, we don't really get much of that story, but like, he has to watch her live her life and be happy with their kid without him.
Yes.
And like, yeah, sure, he still gets his kid, and yeah, sure, he still gets to be a neurosurgeon. And do I think that he should have had way more happen to him? Absolutely. But that is the reality in 99% of these cases.
It doesn't always go the way we expect it to in a happily ever after type of book. Yeah.
It happens to real people, and it happens in real life scenarios. And if these scenarios were this big and stuff all the time, there wouldn't be enough space for all the people in jail. If they if justice was actually served as we think it should be in real life.
Sure.
Like, that's just not, and so I liked that it was realistic in that aspect. Like, it was hard to digest a little bit, but it was real. And I actually liked that he was complex, and that you hate him and you absolutely disagree with every decision that he made, but still in some weird way you kind of find yourself not empathizing with him, but like, I get it. I don't know. Like, she
not necessarily
humanized him.
demonizing him. Yeah.
She humanized him, and like, he's still, and ultimately, if we're being real, granted, we know this is like a fake story, but like, it's very realistic for a lot of people's lives. Like, I'm glad that she did humanize him, because ultimately the person who's going to suffer the most is the kid. Right. L.A.M.E is going to be the one who suffers out of all of this. Like, not having a dad, not growing up with him, or growing up with an abusive person. Like, she would have been the true victim of all of this had Colleen not humanized him. So I think,
also, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the book, didn't she name her Dory?
Oh my God, you're right. No, Dory was her middle name.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, because she named him after
his
brother in the book.
Yeah,
I think I remember reading that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Emerson.
It was, but Dory, I think I'm 99% sure Dory was the middle name, and I hated that so much. I hated everything that had to do with Finding Nemo in this book.
It was sweet. It was a sweet sentiment because I understand keep swimming. I understand the connection to Atlas. I get it. It's sweet. It was maybe overdone. It maybe made me cringe.
But like not really, because she liked Ellen and then told Atlas about Ellen. Like she liked she did this before him. This had nothing to do with Atlas. She's weird. Like she has a weird trauma bond with Ellen. But
I did see because I look up the reviews to just see like every aspect of what we can talk about. But one of the 1-star reviews was genuinely it was really interesting how Colleen made the choice to have Ellen as the 4th main character. It's like, ooh, that's true.
It really was.
All right. Yeah. So do you have anything else on that, or do you want to talk about the movie?
I'm trying to think. No, I think I said everything. It was, I did read this book a while ago, so some details like if the daughter's name was Dory or Emmy, like those things are a little muddled, I think, in my mind, but I do remember the big points, and watching the movie did help me remember like some of the other things. I think I'm ready to talk about the movie now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I loved that the joke of the movie was addressed. Her name was Lily Bloom Blossom. So it's funny that you brought that up, because that was the first point on my list of, I love that she said, it gets worse. My name's Lily Bloom Blossom.
No,
and
it blew when he goes, why don't you just go by your middle name? She goes, it just looks at him like, I can't. And he goes, shut up. What is it?
Or it's Lily Blossom Bloom, isn't it? Lily Blossom Bloom, not Lily Bloom Blossom.
Yeah, Blossom Bloom.
Lily Bloom in total. Okay.
Because he's guessing he's like, no, wait, what is it? Like, petunia? Like, he's guessing all these, like, flowers or whatever.
Oh, it's so... Honestly, though, if I had the opportunity to name a child that way, I might do it. I know that might ruin their life, but I feel like that's fun.
No, I'm all for I wouldn't let you. There was a theme, that's for sure.
There sure was.
Can we talk about... I'm surprised that Dr. Owen Hunt took the small, minuscule role as her father.
Did he really? I didn't even notice.
Yes. Owen Hunt was her dad from Grey's Anatomy.
There's no way. There's no way. Yes, it was. Are you sure?
Ellie, I know my Owen Hunt. Google it.
I will.
I just was surprised because he is only in like 2, maybe 3 flashback scenes, and that's it. And I'm not saying he's not some like Hollywood blockbuster actor.
You're so right.
I know. But like I feel like he was big enough to
he's bigger than this.
One of the smallest roles in this movie. If not the smallest role, truly, out of all of the characters.
Honestly,
the mom is in it more than he is.
The true crime is the fact that Owen Hunt was that character.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's so the
exactly
opposite
what you said.
of that.
He's a bigger actor than this. That's crazy.
He literally has the smallest role out of every semi-main character in this book.
Wow. Also, I love him in Grey's, so...
I love him in Grey's, too.
That's that. Okay. In general, I felt like the movie was really well done. Exactly what I said about the book being an accurate portrayal of how complicated abuse can be. The movie showed it visually, and we got to see on the screen the complexity and justification of, did he really hit me, or was it an accident? Like, you got to walk in those shoes for a second, because the first attack, I could see myself being like, no, that was a mistake. Like, that's just a knee-jerk reaction. And just moving forward, you really get placed in that, are we justifying this, or are we going to call it for what it is? So Baldoni, who is the director, Justin Baldoni, his intentions behind the movie were to create Ryle to be so lovable that the viewers who don't have any experience with domestic violence can see why the victims have so much trouble leaving. And they stay for the good, lovable person, not the mean and hurtful person. And I thought that was portrayed so well. So that's my take on the movie. The casting, I am no stranger to the fact that everyone hates the casting. No stranger at all. I have Instagram. I have eyes. Basically, except for Atlas. I think everyone was solid on that. I think Lily...
I feel like the opposite.
What? Oh, you
I feel like I heard everyone
it?
was just upset about the casting of Atlas.
Oh.
That's all I saw.
Maybe I don't have Instagram. Maybe I don't have eyes.
Maybe I don't have eyes. Maybe. Anyways.
So, but Lily was supposed to be in like her early 20s. I think she was 23 in the book. And she was supposed to be this young, naive character. So casting Blake was a very interesting choice. But I also get it. Like, you need a big name to make a big movie.
They aged up her character in the movie just so they could cast Blake Lively. Colleen Hoover came out and said that. They aged the character and like everything like, on purpose.
If Blake Lively was willing to be in my movie that I wasn't sure was going to make it or not, yeah, immediately, because that's a guaranteed that movie's going to make it because you have such a big name in your movie. Yeah. But the casting for young Lily, holy guacamole, they aced that.
I think that Colleen Hoover somehow wrote this book 20 years ago and started filming it with Blake Lively then. There is no way that young Lily is not Blake Lively 20 years ago. I could not wrap my mind around it was like, yes, they look similar. She sounded like her. The way she talked, the enunciation she put on certain words. I was like, if I closed my eyes and someone said, hey, that's Blake Lively, I'd be like, yeah, you're telling the truth. That is Blake Lively. It was, again, chef's kiss. 3, 4 Michelin stars for that. So good.
All right. Well, what were your other thoughts on the movie outside of casting?
All right. So, well, I have more to go on casting, but I'll talk about everything you've said. I actually disagree on how well the domestic violence was portrayed in the movie. I think they did their best. I'm not saying it was portrayed poorly, but I wish that the moment of realization for her when she realized that he actually pushed her down the stairs or that he actually slapped her in the glass in the hand thing, like, I wish that was a little bit more obvious. I feel like it happened too quickly and too under the rug. And so, like, yes, it was there, but I don't feel like enough emphasis was put on that and for her realization of the moment.
So are you saying it looked like it really, like, genuinely could have been an accident, and so there wasn't any clarification of, like, oh, this was actually abuse?
It didn't, I mean, because, like, I know it was supposed to look like an accident at first. I just wish her come to Jesus, so to say, moment there was more emphasis on it, because I feel like she, and maybe this kind of goes into my casting a little bit, so I'll just jump to that. I didn't like Blake Lively. I didn't think she did a good. I don't really think Blake Lively is that great of an actress, truthfully.
Thousands of others.
No, but, like, I don't like her in most of her movies. I like her as a person, but, like, I genuinely don't. I think she's pretty, and I think that's why she keeps getting roles. Like, I really don't think she's that talented. The only movie that made me eat my words was, what's that movie you told me about with Anna Kendrick and her? I can't remember what it's called now.
A Simple Favor.
A Simple Favor.
I actually hated her in that movie. That's so funny you say that. I'm like, wow, this really shows that she's not a good actress.
No, that was the only movie where she played a different kind of role. She's always the simpy,
cute gossip girl.
Simpy, blonde, like, I don't know.
Serena Williams.
Yes, like, she's always that girl. And that movie was the first time that she played someone with a backbone and someone who, like, was evil, kind of. I mean, like, I don't know. It was, I liked seeing that because she diverted from the same old that she always is, and that's why I appreciated it. But I just didn't like her, and I'm sure you're gonna bring this up at some point, but dear God, what was with her outfits and her hair?
I wasn't gonna bring it up. I'm glad you did. I know.
My goodness, what, the double pants?
The double pants times 2 pants, like. When I saw on Instagram, people were saying, "Oh, look, behind the scenes, we got some footage of Blake Lively shooting for It Ends With Us."
Is she did they make her homeless? Did they 100%. Switch it? Is Atlas actually the person? Is Lily the homeless one?
You could not have convinced me that those were actually her outfits. I was so sold on the fact that she was duping us, that this was just her transition outfit to get to their actual set, so that she would take off the top layer and it would be a beautiful outfit underneath. No. She really did commit to the double pants twice.
Because, like,
there are 2 scenes.
4 pants.
That is 4 pants.
And worn at the same time. Like, my God.
Yeah.
I just, like, and because I don't and this is the part where I was having a hard time with that watching the movie, because this is one of those little nuances that I was trying really hard to remember that I just couldn't from the book. I remember Lily being like fun and outgoing and stuff, but I don't remember her being crazy eccentric. And I just feel like they made her character something it wasn't with her outfits. And like they really leaned into the I'm not the normal girl, I'm a cool girl. Like I don't know, like that's the vibe I got, and I'm like I just don't remember feeling like that was her character in the book.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you want to take creative direction, but maybe just put her in one pair of pants. Like I just and that's on the costumer. That's not on anyone else. But
nope. And we're going to get into this with the drama, but that is on Blake.
Oh, okay. Well,
those outfits are on Blake. Think about that.
All right. And then the casting for young Atlas, boo. I love young Lily. Amazing.
Totally agree.
He looked like
think about
Casper
it till now.
the Ghost. He didn't look, I mean, I know that you're not going to get someone that's a perfect mirror the same way that you did for young Lily. But
he didn't look like him.
I get that. He didn't look like him. He didn't act like the guy in the book. Like I was so unimpressed with young Atlas. But adult Atlas. I love him. I love him so much. And
did you watch 1928?
I sure don't. I didn't know I didn't. I watched 1923.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is. I
5 years too late.
loved him in that. So when I saw that he was cast as Atlas, I was jumping for joy, squealing like a little girl, because I'm like, this is exactly what I pictured Atlas looking like.
Yeah.
Like, he is Atlas. That is absolutely... But then immediately online, all I saw was, who is this guy? Boo! You got hot Blake Lively, so beautiful. Justin Baldoni, Greek god. Who is this chump? And I'm like, first off, he's not a chump. But second off, that's kind of the point. He's not supposed to be a Greek god the way Ryle is. Like, he's supposed to be your unassuming guy next door neighbor. Like, that's the whole... That's his character. Like, he's the boy next door. And if... I can't remember his name in real life, but the actor who plays Atlas, if that was my neighbor... Hot dang. I would have never left the house.
His name is Brandon Sklenner.
Thank you. Brandon, if you're ever listening to this, I'm married, but I appreciate you. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well,
so, no, I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, I am done. That was it.
All right.
I loved that. I don't know.
Okay.
No. Here's what it is. I really liked the first half of the movie. I didn't like the second half that much, but honestly, like, ultimately I loved Justin Baldoni. I feel like he did a really good job playing Ryle. He did a really he played the Ryle's character well, in the sense of, like, we really got the conflicting sides. I think his vision for what he wanted to portray of domestic violence, and how you really can't blame someone, or you can't criticize anyone's decisions, and he made that really understandable. I think he did a very well done.
Yes.
It was very well done the way he did it.
Yes. Well, and I think for just
all of it really is lost on me was with Blake. I just think she kind of killed it. I loved the girl who played Alyssa. I loved her friend. I loved Marshall. So true to the book.
What's her name? Jenny.
I can't remember. But I also like.
Yeah.
She's a super good actress. I didn't picture Marshall looking like the guy who played him, but he was such a golden retriever the way his character was in the book, and I think he did a really good job in the role. But
I was gonna say something, but now I have forgotten. So
I'm sorry.
Book v movie. Now that we're on this topic, let's talk about the differences. Bibs and the magnet versus Roots and the tattoo. Honestly, I liked both. I know people were like, Bibs was so essential, but I was like, I don't care. Both caused a deepening with the relationship and a cute story, so it is what it is. I like both backgrounds. I thought it was great.
I agree. I at first was really upset that she changed the name when I first heard that, but now after seeing like the movie and seeing that, like you said, like the Roots and doing other things, I forgive her, and I think it's okay.
I forgive
because we get that connection somewhere else. So as long as it's in there, I'm cool with it, because the name Bibs is stupid to begin with. So I actually wish that she had written it the Roots
as Roots
thing.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna be like, they both portray the same deep connection and everything. So if we're gonna get really technical, the only reason I would prefer one or the other is because calling a flower store Bibs,
excuse me,
really, like,
yeah,
I would walk into something called Bibs.
I appreciated that they took out the L in letters. It seems that Colleen again was listening to the audience on that one, so that was nice. And that's all I have on book versus movie. I feel like they kind of stuck to the plot pretty well, other than like exactly what you said with the clothing and the eccentricness and how all the like, oh, she's an enigma. I don't know. Yeah.
I loved the way they decorated the floral shop in the show though.
Ooh, hot take. I did not. Oh, I usually do like good maximalism design. For me, that wasn't it though.
Well, but you have to remember, like, that's kind of her whole thing. It was a little bit different than what I pictured based on the book. I pictured it being more black, like in the book, and more of like a funeral. And it was more boho eclectic maximalist in the show.
Yeah.
But I just felt like at least they didn't make it like a normal flower shop.
Oh, absolutely. Did agree. Like, I do agree there. Yeah, I think just it's not even the fact that she went in a maximalism approach. I think it was just stylistically. I did not like the colors that went together. I did not appreciate it. But that's that's just me. You got anything else on book versus the movie? Because I'm ready to talk about the drama.
I guess maybe just a hot take. I just didn't really care for the movie that much. I gave it a 3 out of 5. And maybe it's me. I don't know, but like I laugh. My favorite part of the movie was the guy sitting behind me. You could tell he came with his girlfriend, but he was so into the movie, and he obviously didn't read the book. He went like 4 times. He laughed out loud, like it was amazing. Sometimes
I love an interactive audience.
Well, I love or hate it depending on, like, if they're just like talking, that's annoying. But like you could tell he was invested, and that made it amazing. But like that was the best part of it for me. And Atlas. I'll
tell you when I don't like an interactive audience is on planes. Let's not gasp when the plane drops a little bit. Let's not cry when there's turbulence, and let's not clap at the end. Let's leave.
Yeah, no clapping. Leave all
keep
of the
emotions inside. I think
to me, I don't need other people doing it.
That's exactly
that will reinforce my gasping and crying.
It's true. I only ask that because I have an insane fear of flying, and so anytime someone else is freaking out, my level just anxiety took the reins on that control panel is what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's get to the good part. Thoughts on the press and drama revolving It Ends With Us. So here it is, the pop culture part of the show, ladies and gents. And just P.S., I know that we've talked a lot about the movie and we're going to talk about pop culture. We're still a book podcast, okay?
Yeah.
It just so happens that this drama was revolving what originally was a book. And so it's not my fault that these pieces fell into my lap. All right.
I was going to say something, but I just feel like you nailed it, so keep going.
Thank you. Number 1, the movie trailers. Ooh, this was a big mistake in my opinion. So, personal stories alone, I didn't even have to deep dive Reddit for this. My mom was like, wow, that movie, It Ends With Us, I want to see that. It looks really cute. And I was like, cute? She's like, yeah, because I saw like a trailer and it was all about like the girl and the guy falling in love, and I think that's going to be good. That is the vast majority of people, what they get. If you have not read this book, the trailer does not divulge that this is a DV movie. So that can be incredibly triggering to people. And I was talking with a coworker at work, sharing kind of my thoughts on that. And she said, you're not kidding, because one of my friends does have a history with domestic violence. And she went into this movie and she like had a panic attack and had to walk out because she didn't know that it was about domestic violence. Ooh. Yeah. Big mistake. I really feel like they missed the mark. And maybe I haven't seen all the trailers, and some do involve like hints of this is going to be about domestic violence, but kind of generically, no, I don't think it was spoken on as far as the trailers and promos go that this was a domestic violence story. And that speaks a lot to how Blake has been advertising this, but we'll get into that more. Your thoughts?
Well, so I think I didn't think too much of it, but that's because I read the book. So like I knew it was coming, and so I didn't think, oh man, they really should have included this but that's just because I was being selfish, and I'm like, well, I know what happens. I want to see what they're going to do with the story. Thinking of it, because when you first I actually honestly don't even, I think I saw maybe one trailer. Like, I actually don't even think I saw too much advertising for this, so I don't really have a lot to say about that. But when you were first explaining it, initially my thought was, well, maybe they are doing this because they want to shed light on something that people otherwise would be like, oh, I'm not going to go see that because it's dumb, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's like advertising a horror movie as like a romance and then shocking the audience when your first ghost does its jump scare.
Exactly. But then as you were talking, and even before you said this, I'm like, wow, Melissa, that's actually not a good idea. This could be incredibly triggering for anyone who's experienced this. They should probably know that beforehand.
Right.
And let the movie then do a good job at explaining, like, from their point of view, why it would have been difficult to leave potentially, you know what I mean? Like, not shock people and trick them into watching this, and then also at the same time try to relay a real world story. So I don't know. I just don't know if that was I don't think that was the thought process behind the trailers, because of, I'm sure, like what we're going to get into with the PR and Blake and versus Justin stuff. But if that was the angle, bad move. Like, should have put a trigger warning in there.
And maybe I'm off base because maybe they did involve that, but I remember like I think a trailer I saw in theaters for another movie when I saw It Ends With Us come up in that preview. I don't think it involved DV, if I'm remembering correctly, but I might be wrong. For hearing the stories from my friends and people I know saying they had no idea and they did see trailers for this, and it was triggering for them, that was shocking to me. So number 2, Blake. I used to love her. Used to, as of like exactly maybe 2 weeks ago. And wow, she's in hot waters, and I cannot back her on a lot of this. So Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's relationship. We'll talk about that first. Justin was the director, again, of It Ends With Us, as well as the actor who portrayed Ryle. Everyone on the cast stopped following Justin on Instagram and all other social media, and when they were taking pictures together at the premiere, Justin was isolated and left out. Why was that? So there's heavy speculation that Justin's vision for It Ends With Us was to make it a more serious movie to bring awareness to domestic violence. Also, this is not in my notes, but he was the director of the 5 Feet Apart one, the cystic fibrosis one with
I don't think I saw that.
One of the Sprouse twins, and so that was to bring awareness to cystic fibrosis and the battle that those people deal with. And so it's kind of like, it's telling that he has these passion projects to bring awareness to these very serious situations through films. And so you kind of like see his history and you see his character. So he is quoted in an interview stating, "If a Lily Bloom in real life can sit in this theater and make a different choice for herself than was made for her, maybe she sees herself on that screen and chooses something different for herself. That's why I made this movie." So it's clear that was his mission. However, and again, this is speculation, Blake may have inserted herself as the lead, being the lead in this movie. She may have inserted herself by railroading his directing choices, and along with her husband Ryan Reynolds, choosing to make it more of a romantic movie and comical in areas. And there was some comedy in there. I don't think it was misplaced.
I was just about to say, I feel like it was actually done, the comedy was added. But she also was a producer.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
So though Justin's movie tested better with an audience, Blake kind of pulled rank, and with Colleen's approval, had her version of the movie pushed through, which may have caused the rift between them. So
I don't know.
There's that.
I just like, I don't know. Ultimately, I just think like this really comes down to like who wears the pants, and like I don't know who gets to. This is really like hurt feelings, honestly, like over all of this. The movie, if this is Colleen's book, it's her, truthfully, like her direction. If she wants to maybe she liked Blake's version of it better. Maybe she was pushed around by Blake and just let the star factor of her intimidate her. Like, we don't ultimately know like why. Right. And we truthfully don't even know exactly what went down either. But I mean, seems pretty accurate. But like that's on her then at the end of the day. And Justin, he still got to do that. Like, even if it isn't as deep or as much as he had wanted to, this is a romance book.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, this is a romantic novel. It's not a novel of awareness. I mean, like, it is, but like, it's not like a
see, that's where the audience is actually split. So a lot of people say it had to be marketed as a romance in order to just kind of get it out and put it in a genre, because you're not going to have a genre of domestic abuse, you know. But this is a novel to bring awareness. And so that's where the disconnect is is she trying to make a romance, or is she trying to make awareness? And it's like, you can do both. But yeah.
Well, sorry, what I meant when I said it wasn't to bring awareness, I was like, that I that's not what the entire I'm not saying this because like I'm trying to say like that's not what the entire center is about. Like, at the end of the day, I do think it is to bring awareness, but that wasn't the only aim. Like, it is a romance book between...
That wasn't the only note in the movie.
That wasn't the only point. Yes, it is also the romance between Atlas and Lily, and them finding each other again, and like the crap that you have to get through first. Like, so it's not only that, which is why I don't think it's wrong to put emphasis on the romance.
Speaking more on Justin and Blake's relationship, I think it was very Mean Girl of how they were like excluding him. And maybe, you know, maybe it's not even this. Maybe more went on in the room where it happened and we don't know anything. Yeah. But the fact that like they asked Justin, you know, would you do the next one? And he's like, you know what? Blake is so creative and so excellent in her skills. I think she would do. And he only is singing her praises, whereas they're taking pictures without him and unfollowing him on social media. And I'm like, it just kind of, I don't like that. But we also don't know what happened. So maybe he is deserving of it. We don't know.
I was literally just about to say, just like how someone who's in a relationship with domestic violence and we might not know, we really don't know what happened between them. And so it's really hard to say. Justin might be he's an actor. Like, he might have been a total, pardon my French, asshat on the set. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, totally messed up,
coming out as, rude. Like, the good guy here,
Because, again, like, odds are there's no way Blake is able to steamroll every single person to get all of them to unfollow him if there wasn't some kind of justification. Whether that's her, I mean, she could be lying through her teeth and making them think something happened that didn't. I don't know. But regardless... There's no way that multiple adults could be like, just make a decision purely based on nothing.
I will say the vast majority of the audience at this point in time is singing Justin's praises rather than Blake's, and I will get more into that. So let's discuss the press. Justin has been in quite literally every interview raising awareness for DV and its victims. During the premiere, an interviewer said to Justin, "This is your night." And his response was, "No, this isn't my night. This is a night for all the women who we made this movie for." And wow, chills. Blake, on the other hand, said, "Grab your friends, grab your florals, and come and see this movie."
Yeah.
Ooh.
All of this is where Blake lost me, though, too. Like, I do think that really does... Again, unless he's like the best actor ever, which I don't think. He's a good actor, but it's not like I do think that his heart behind this was right. Like, as far as like why he wanted to make it. And like you said, like his topography shows that he has a history of doing things like this. But I just that she could there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, come watch this movie. But like I do think at some point it should have been mentioned. Like what he was doing. Do I think that had to be every word that came out of her mouth? No. But not once did that come out of her mouth. And all it was the pretty flowers and the cute romance and the let's drink coffee and watch this and you know and like that. And I'm like, you really missed an opportunity to...
You're missing the mark. Yeah. So
the point. Yeah.
She's seen making floral arrangements for a promo with the younger Blake Lively actress that's alongside her. She's seen promoting her hair products. That was really tone deaf for me. Ryan Reynolds did a comedy promo talking about how hot the guy Atlas is and like, oh, how do you feel, you know, macking on my wife, which is again very tone deaf to the root of this movie. The list goes on. The approach that Blake has been taking to promote this movie has been, in my kind words, literally insane.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how could you possibly think that this was a good idea? And it's kind of with what you were saying, like, well, the clothes weren't her choice. Like, I'm sure her responses are not entirely all her choice. She has an entire PR team. What are they all thinking? And so I'm just shocked and beside myself for this. So she's been all about the flowers and the clothes. The interview,
my goodness, the clothes. I can't get over that.
I'm glad you bring that up, because the interview regarding the clothes, someone asked her, like, what was the inspiration? And she was like, well, Lily is just this character she's an amalgamation, like she's here and she's there and she's here and she's there. And then basically at the end of the interview was like, but it's all my clothes. Or someone was like, I love the boots, those shiny boots. She was like, those are my boots. And so it just kind of, throughout the interview, you find out these are all her clothes. So she's like, oh, this is Lily and she's just this, but it's like, these are her clothes. She's putting herself in this movie. She's acting as herself. This is her. And so it came off really bad, because it was like, oh, she wears the most beautiful clothes. They're my clothes. It was just like,
yikes.
What? So that was off. And then when people started to come for her, it seems like her PR team did a twist. And the next thing we know, Blake is on the record saying, Lily isn't just a survivor or just a victim. She's not defined by something someone else did to her. I'm guessing maybe to play on the fact, maybe to play on the fact that she's avoided talking about this heavy subject, obviously. But my personal take is that, yes, she's not going to be someone, like, the whole thing is she's not approaching this subject on this movie because Lily is not defined by this. But let's pause right there. Lily's not defined by this. Yes, a woman who goes through domestic violence is not, no one who goes through struggles is defined by their struggles, you know?
Yeah.
But this movie is a glimpse into Lily's life about her struggle with domestic violence. So to just sum it all up to she's not defined by this, so we're not really going to approach this subject, wrong. I think wrong.
She's not defined by it, but she's shaped by it. And so
good. Like, good quote.
Thanks. But it absolutely needs to be addressed. Like, you're right. Like you said, like, no one is defined by their struggles, but it absolutely shapes their character and changes them as a person, and it possibly changes their trajectory in life, and it definitely has an impact, even if they're not defined by it. So it should be addressed, awareness should be brought, and it should be spoken about more. And like you said, because she didn't say anything like that until people started giving her crap, it feels even worse than if she, honestly, like, I think at that point she should have just not come out and said anything.
Like, I'm sorry. I don't know, because I know the cancel culture is a really big thing, but I feel like if a genuine apology of like, I'm sorry that the way I've been going about this has been wrong, you know, I don't know, maybe that would have made it better. Like, don't avoid it and then try to cover your tracks, but just address the issue head forward.
Like, addressing it, or just like not doing anything differently, just like pretending like you don't, like ignoring it
and just stop doing
versus coming out and saying, well, like, no, I'm not saying it because of this. Like, because it not only does it have a holier than thou vibe to it, it also is like, that feels like you're making up crap just so that you can have an excuse for why you've been tone deaf and not said anything. Like,
so there is a counterpoint to this, because we're nothing if we don't play devil's advocate just a couple times. But Blake's point of PR wasn't, quote, let's talk about domestic violence, but let's talk about a strong woman who went through it and still became all of that. She celebrates the fact that Lily was able to overcome suffering and pain. And so maybe that's where her PR team was, that's the angle where...
But like, what does
Justin's
hey, come with your friends?
Yeah,
well,
I can't honestly
come
defend
with your
it.
Friends and flowers. How does that portray strong, independent overcomer?
Yes.
Like that, like if that's the angle that she was taking, great. But like she missed the mark then. Like, she didn't.
I could see the team sitting in this room and like Justin's team being like, we're going to take the approach of, we're going to speak out against this, and we're going to bring awareness to domestic violence. And Blake's team being like, and we are going to talk about how it doesn't define you. But it almost comes off, again, it's tone deaf, and it comes off like, oh, it never happened. And instead, this is a girly pop fun movie. Bring your flowers, bring your friends. It's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not working.
Yeah.
So, moving
it's
back.
Really hard. It's really hard to have that be your angle if you're not going to ever at least once address it. Yeah. Like, maybe I feel like it would change how you address it, not the fact that you don't address it at all.
Yeah.
Like, instead of being like, well, my whole point of bringing, like how Justin was like, I want to bring awareness to this. I want people to feel like they understand Lily and understand, like, her angle could have been like, yeah, like Lily's an overcomer. She is strong. You know what I mean? Even just talking about Lily's character attributes once, I mean, that would have been, oh, okay, we can point back to that interview. I can see maybe this was her angle. So like, and then at the end of it, so grab your friends, grab your florals, and come watch Lily be the amazing, you know, I don't know, like,
people are saying that they've gone back and watched her other interviews because of this kind of thing, and they're like, it's honestly pretty similar. Like, she just kind of gives a tone deaf response to a lot of things that are asked of her, but it's being so recognized right now because this is the first movie, kind of like what you said exactly, that she's actually done that's really meant something, that's had we need to bring awareness to this, that's had a mission and a passion behind it, more than just the shallows, like the shark attacking her in the water, you know, something real. This is the first real movie she's done. And so then her reactions to these real questions have come off really bad. There was an interview where a guy said, like, hey, someone who might be going through this might see you on the street and want to, like, talk about it and just explain their struggle. Like, how would you react to that? And she was like, what am I supposed to give them? My phone number, my address, my personal email? It was bad.
No way. She didn't say that.
I watched it with my own eyes. I'll send it to you.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, Blake.
It was like kind of like a joke, but it was like, did you not understand that this was a serious question? So there's an argument also that people are putting out there, Blake defenders, saying, well, it's interesting because Justin gets asked all of these questions that that position him to talk about awareness and to talk about, you know, his mission for this movie, where Blake's more asked about the clothing and stuff like that. She's not given these upper echelon of questions. And it's like, it doesn't matter. If you were going to talk about the clothing, I would straight downright say, I actually wouldn't like to talk about the clothing. I would like to talk about XYZ, bringing awareness to this, and, you know, things like that. Like, well, I get that maybe she's not positioned, but you can do a lot with that.
Yeah, you know what? To give her the benefit of the doubt. I do think women in general are typically going to be asked more of the, like, oh, how did you feel about this? Like, whatever. But I actually disagree. I'm not saying I would probably a majority of Justin's questions were direct that way. One, because he was the director. So it was his creative vision, supposedly, assuming he wasn't steamrolled. Yeah. And two, I mean, he's a guy that you can't ultimately, like, that's just kind of what it comes down to. But I would disagree. I think the question that someone asked Blake about what would you say to someone who feel like they can relate to you because of domestic violence, I didn't hear anything about clothing or flowers or feelings in that, and her response was really rude and terrible. So I
actually think I'll probably share this story. But there was a compilation of Justin's interviews versus Blake's, and that comment that someone made of, well, Blake's usually getting asked about clothes and stuff, someone replied back and they're like, not one of these questions was a shallow question. She had every opportunity to discuss the meaning behind this movie. So anyways, honestly, that is all I have.
So
my take,
we're coming out of this saying we're both Team Justin. I'm also just, actually, I'm not either. I am Team Brandon. Like, at the end of the day, what's his name? Brandon
Atlas. Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm Team him. That's where I land.
Yeah,
I don't care truthfully about this drama.
If you are someone who is able to, be on the side that supports women dealing with this. Be the friend that can help. Be someone that they can reach out to. You know, that kind of thing. But I will say, as far as the book goes, Colleen Hoover's writing, this book was not it for me personally, but Agreed. I will tell you what is Verity. That Colleen Hoover book sent me. I know Melissa didn't love it, but I thought the twist was absolutely impeccable. So if they make a movie on that,
here's what
I will be back here doing this.
Here is what it is. I just now, in this moment, you guys are getting a real life epiphany from none other than myself. I figured out what it is about Colleen, and I think this is why a lot of people don't like her. But I think they also take it way too far. She's a good writer, but there's just always at least one thing in her books that she adds that is so stupid. or like so weird and just like the Ellen thing in this one. Like, really? Are you freaking kidding me? For me, in Verity, it was the main character. She just was like, she wrote her so weird, and
I liked it.
I don't know. There's just always like, there's just something off about part of the story in all of her books. And I think that's what ruins it for a lot of people. To me, doesn't ruin it enough. I mean, I've only read a handful of her books, and none of them are high on my TBR. Like,
yeah,
the rest of them.
You want to know what I'm truly shocked about? I'm sorry. I just have to get this out.
Go for it.
That Colleen Hoover has been able to come out with a movie this year, and yet not one of SJM's books has made it to film. That is the anomaly.
Yeah, that is the anomaly. That's true.
Especially on that note,
I don't know.
I think we're done here. So like and subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and tune in this Wednesday for our Tandem Fandom if you're following along with Throne of Glass.
Week 7, chapters 60 through 75 of Empire Storms, but I don't remember the chapters Tower Dawn, but it's not through the end, I'll tell you that.
You can catch it on our Instagram.
Yep.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.